Okay, so thank you everybody for joining us. I know there'll be people joining as we go along, which is absolutely fine. Thank you for saying hello in the chat. So just to start off with a bit of a disclaimer, this session is being recorded. If you want to opt out or if you want to turn your camera off, then that's absolutely fine. Or if you want to opt out at any time, you can contact cia@liverpool.ac.uk after the session. And the recordings will be shared later on today or maybe tomorrow. But if you have any issues or any objections, just let us know. Today is the first of 3 sessions. I'm going to post the link in the chat to the event Padlet if you want to join the rest of the sessions for today. And also there's a link to our CIE Gen AI website. So there's lots of information there, particularly for those internal to Liverpool or for those external as well as some useful resources. If you want to have a look at that today after the session, then please feel free. Okay, so that's the housekeeping done. Hopefully you could stick around for the next hour with us because we've got Raúl Getino-Diez and Mikel, García and Madariaga, and they're joining us from XJTLU. So we appreciate them taking time out of their evening to deliver this session to us. And this session is going to be examining how generative AI, particularly high controlled text generation, can support both learners and educators in beginner level second language models through the development of targeted instructional tools. So it's going to be really interesting. I'm going to hand over to you, Raúl and Mikel. If anyone has any questions as we go, please post them in the chat. And if there's anything I think needs addressing in real time, I'll raise it with Raúl and Mikel. If not, I'll make a note of them and we can answer the questions at the end. Okay, I'll hand over to you guys. Thanks very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
So good morning in the sunny Liverpool in the UK. Good afternoon to those who are attending from China, and good something if you're attending from a different part of the world. So first I want to thank Mr. David Watson, of course, Mr. Rob Lindsay and Dr. Tunda Varga-Atkins, the Center for Innovation in Education and the University of Liverpool for inviting us. Today, we are very excited to share our work here. I'm Raúl Getino-Diez. I'm a senior language lecturer at Xi'an Jiaotong-Liverpool University here in China.
I am Mikel García. I am associate lecturer here also in Xi'an Jiaotong-Liverpool University and with Raúl. Thank you very much for the invitation, and we hope to share, and we hope you enjoy our session here today. We want to share with you a part of our project called, with this presentation, called Building AI-Powered Solution for Beginner Level Second Language Learner. Today, we will go through different parts of our research or project. First, we're going to share with you the context where we are working, research-driven innovation, how we get the high control AI text generation for absolute beginners. We're going to share with you some tools that we have developed. We have developed some tools for teachers and tools for students. Then we're going to talk a little bit about how we are implementing these developments. We're going to talk about a little bit about the assessment that we are doing and some limitations. And also, we want to share with you what we are doing now, looking to the future. Okay, about the context. This project starts with, and we focus on one module, is SPA-001. This module is a big module. We have around 800 students every year, which represents a wide range of needs. Also, they are involved 16 lecturers. These modules has 2 seminars per week of 2 hours and 1 lecture for 1 hour. And the long of this module is 12 teaching weeks. And at the end of the semester, they are expected to have a level of A1 minus. What are the main challenges that absolute beginners of Spanish face in China? First, the language barriers. There is a huge linguistic distance between Spanish and Chinese. They have no prior exposure to the language. And once they leave the classroom, it's difficult to them to get exposition to the language. Also, another challenge is the materials. There is a lack of adapted materials for these students, especially for listening or reading. And these kind of challenges or problems can lead to the students to stress and demotivation. So from these challenges, we see some needs. We need adapted materials, especially for this, the first weeks of the learning. We need adapted practice resources to make the students feel more confident and motivated. And how can AI help with these specific needs? It can help us in the creation of materials that progressively adapt to our module pace or students' needs and rhythm. And also in the creation of tools that gonna allow our students to use the Spanish in kind of real life scenarios, like conversation partners. And all of this can be done with AI text generation. And other challenges when we use AI text generation, when we are working with absolute beginners, is that the standard tools that we use, like ChatGPT, Claude, Mistral, Gemini, normally they produce a content that exceeds our students' pace and level. And also the challenges of using chatbots is that we cannot control the vocabulary, the linguistic structure, the grammar, etc. in the generated text. Also, if we try to oversimplify the linguistic in the text, normally we're gonna lose relevance in the context and culture, text authenticity, and linguistic accuracy. So we saw, Raúl and me, we saw different ways to overcoming these challenges. One of them is work with fine-tuning. Fine-tuning, as you know, is a trained model, is really accurate and consistent, but is resource intensive, consumes a lot of resources, and is not scalable. We cannot escalate. Then we have the prompt. The prompt is not trained, the prompting, sorry, is non-trained, is true that it's flexible and is resource efficient, but is inconsistent in accuracy and depending on the prompt, also content sensitive. Then we have hybrid GPTs or agents, also non-trained. They are more accurate than a prompt, but it's complex to work with them, and it's also resource intensive. We decide to work with prompting, with chatbots using prompting and knowledge bases.
So Raúl? We're going to start, yeah. So we're going to start with the research part, which is kind of the core of our work here. This is, I mean, we started with this obsession to control text for absolute beginners, because I mean, this is the class we are teaching. So we started to work with three main areas of intervention. Of course, with prompts. I mean, we started to work with certain prompt strategies to make the models to perform better. Then with attachments, in these attachments, we included the linguistic constraints. So we started to work on structures, I mean, how to structure these files, and also the type of file that we could use. And then, of course, we work with different AI models. So we are going to talk about all these three areas a bit. So the prompt to allow customization, scalability, and bot integration, we created this prompt with two sections. One section, which is the generic section of the generic prompt, is going to describe the general behavior of the AI model. This is going to define the overall task. It's going to specify the vocabulary and grammar constraints. And of course, this is going to remain all the time the same. I mean, across tasks, this generic section is not going to change. And then we have the specific section, which is task specific. It's going to detail the type of text to be generated. For example, if we're going to generate a city description, a dialogue, it's going to provide enough context to make the text relevant and authentic, I mean, for that level, of course. And this part of the prompt is going to adapt. It's going to adapt to, of course, the different textual needs. So I'm going to show you a bit the work we did with prompts. This is the standard prompt. I mean, in the standard prompt, we try to build a correct prompt that followed a clean structure. I mean, a well prompt. Here you can see the specific section. The specific section is gonna, it's gonna determine here the type of text we need to generate. In this case, description of a city, description of Barcelona. Here you see a bit of context because we're trying to look for authenticity and relevance. And I mean, this is the important part, the generic section. Here you see a clear definition of two constraints, vocabulary constraints. I mean, you need to use these words, and grammar and structure constraint, which means you need to use only these grammar structures. I mean, we see that like very clearly defined. Like instructions are pretty clear, use these words, you follow these grammar structures. We have a clear reference to the files. We have two files, one with vocabulary, another one with functions and examples. So let's see if the PPT moves. Okay, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So, Mikel, can you help me with the PPT? It looks like it's not moving.
Yep.
Okay, so this is the enhanced prompt. And the enhanced prompt is going to have more or less the same characteristics, but with some specific strategies here. We have this persona pattern, what we call the persona pattern. I mean, I'm sure all of you heard about this. The models are going to work better if you have this, I mean, if you give a role. So you are this skilled language, blah, blah, blah. Then we set the contextual bar model. What is this? I mean, for Spanish beginners, this is very important because the models, they are trained to do that. I mean, they know what is a text built for Spanish beginners. So if we set that bar there, then it's going to be easier that the model is going to follow the constraints. Of course, we have again a clear presentation of the two attachments, vocabulary and functions and examples, and many other strategies. Here you can see there's a general task description. We repeat some of the strategies. So we set the contextual bar model again. We use this kind of formatting. I mean, I don't know if you are used to this kind of work, but actually with plain text, we can give some format to the text. For example, this symbol means bold. So if we give some structure to a long text, of course, this is going to help the model, hopefully. So then we have a clear definition of the two constraints again. But in this case, we use something called redundant requirement. So we say, you do this and you don't do the opposite. So here you can see, use only the words provided in the vocabulary list, no additional words, follow the grammatical structure, you don't use other grammar, okay? That, that looks like it's working very well. Then if you have experience teaching languages, sometimes we have like complex structures which are very common for common functions, communicative functions. So of course, the model is going to have the tendency to use this structure more because they're very common in language. So we need to locate these things, and this is what we call here reinforcement. So we say, for example, avoid other tenses or moods, or in some cases, for example, we have to say to express hobbies, don't say the verb gustar, because gustar is a structure that is a bit more difficult in Spanish, just that I like in English. Okay, so as you see, this prompt is pretty long. Then we have the specific section. The specific section is going to be the same, just we set the contextual bar again. Again, we use some formatting. And at the end, and this is important, we do some reinforcement. This reinforcement, we remind the rule reinforcement because it looks like AI models If the prompt is very long, I mean, there are some parts in the middle that can be lost at some point, so we need to repeat the important things at the end. And of course, at the end, we do, again, the redundant requirement, this rule reinforcement. So just to show this more in a easy way, in the prompt, we have this standard prompt, well-built, clear structure, explicit instructions, well-defined vocabulary and grammar constraints. And then we have the enhanced prompt with other special strategies like persona pattern, contextual proficiency bar, formatting. I mean, all the things I've been talking about.
Okay. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the attachments that we are using. As you know, most of the AI models allow upload some kind of files, PDF, Excel, etc. Raúl was talking about the generic prompt and specific prompt, how to build that. And to this, we're going to add two files, one file for the vocabulary list and another one for the communicative functions and examples. The good thing of these files is that we can customize them. So we can follow the student's pace during the semester, adding what they are learning in that moment. So this tool is always adapted to their level, no more, no less, no more. So we can escalate. We can escalate through all the students' path, let's say, in the learning process. And also this kind of files, this kind of customization, and allow us to integrate them in different bots, different agents, in different hybrid GPTs, etc. So we can expand the scope of these tools. Here you have one example of the vocabulary list. We set this in different categories. Of course, this is one small part of the whole files. Here you have another example for the communicative function and examples, like ask for personal information, provide personal information. Okay, this is also one small part of the whole file. Okay, about the format of the files, we have been working with different kind of files. We have tried with structured formats, unstructured formats, simple formats, rich formats, lightweight formats, heavyweight formats. Well, we have tried all of them, Excel, Docs, PDF, and we can see that JSON, the JSON file works well. It's not much better than others, but it's wide compatibility, supports complex data structures. We have seen that this is consistent in the generation, especially with the time, less time, and always consistent with that in the generation of the text. Here you have one example of the JSON file, the same files, vocabulary lists and functional examples made with JSON. Okay. AI model. Raúl?
Yeah, sorry, I was muted. So of course, I mean, the AI model, we needed to work with that. So with that, of course, because models are going to work in different ways. So in any case, we've been conducting research on this for a while. This is our last experiment design. We generated three kinds of texts for that level: city descriptions, presentations, and dialogues for students for a level when they have studied for 11 weeks for one semester. So we tried two AI models, ChatGPT 4.0 and Claude 3.5 Sonnet. And as Mikel said before, we tried different sets of types of files. So we used the original ones, which were Excel and Docs, and I mean Word files, and of course we used JSON, as Mikel said. When we did this experiment, it was a few months ago, so Excel was not allowed with Claude. Now it is, but it was not at that time. So we used, instead of Excel, we used like PDF. So of course we tried the two types of prompts, standard prompt and the enhanced prompt, which means that we created or generated 30 texts per condition. That makes 720 AI-generated texts in Spanish. Each text was generated, of course, in a different conversation. Files were attached with each different prompt and each different conversation, and memory was off. We're not going to explain here the whole, of course, research. If you are interested, of course, you can send us an email and we can give you more information about this. But I mean, the text generated, I mean, if you are familiar with Spanish, were impressive. Some of them, they adapted pretty well to the levels and to the vocabulary. This is approximately like after one semester class, Spanish class. I mean, here you can see like a few examples. But what is the important thing? I mean, the things we got from this research. I mean, of course, the enhanced prompt significantly improves both vocabulary control and grammar control, but not a bit. I mean, the influence was very strong. Then attachments, as Mikel said before, JSON files didn't improve significantly, I mean, the performance in way of vocabulary and grammar control, but they reduced time generation and they generated more consistent and processing times, which is very important if we want to create tools that actually we're going to talk about tools later. And then, of course, models, they're going to work in different ways. So in this case, Claude 3.5 performed better. Of course, I mean, we're going to see that some of them are going to perform better or worse, and we need to deal with that when we are creating these tools. The important thing here, we're using Claude 3.5 Sonnet and extended prompt. Only 0.46% of words were not present in the vocabulary list. I mean, this is one word every 200 words, which is, I mean, impressive, I think. And then 0 grammar structures were out of domain. So with this, actually, we can prove that with a more simple approach, which is prompting and a knowledge base, we can have something that performs very well. And we don't need like a complex system like fine-tuning, for example. Texts were kind of, I mean, authentic for the level, of course. They were relevant, and all the tests could be used in class, no problem. Some of them maybe with some minor corrections. So we have the prompts, I mean, we have the main techniques, and then we've been working for a while in AI tool development. And maybe this can give you some ideas to work on your modules, on your work on your own tools. So we've been working on tools for students, of course. The idea of tools for students is enhancing their opportunities, the learning opportunities, both inside the classroom, because we think that we can use these tools in the classroom and outside the classroom. And of course, we've been working with tools for teachers. With these tools for teachers, when we want is to enhance teacher efficiency. For example, creating materials. We're going to start with tools for teachers, actually, because TextPa, which is a text generator, that was like our first work on tool generation, because TextPa is based exactly on the prompts, techniques, and the knowledge bases I explained before. So this is a pool of chatbots that can generate text adapt to student progression. I mean, to students after 3 weeks, after 4 weeks, after 5 weeks or learning, okay? So they can use, for example, for material creation, and they can make the teacher work very efficient. So we created those. And then we created this app, Text Validator, which is an interesting thing, because actually we are not programmers, but working with AI, we can kind of be programmers if we don't do something very complicated. So we created this Python app that works pretty well, and that shows the high potential of low-code tools for specific purposes that actually, as teachers, we can create ourselves. In this app, we upload a file. This file has information about a module and about a week. So, for example, this one is Spanish O2 week 2. We put here text to validate, and magic, we get the non-compliant words. Okay, here, in this case, agradable, veces, and we can see the text and with these words in red. So, from a teacher point of view, I create the text for 1 week. Of course, it's not going to be perfect. Some words maybe, or some structures are going to be out of domain. So I'm going to use this tool. I can see that in red, and I can fast make a decision, change that, or maybe let it remain like it is, because of course, learning a language is I+1. Doesn't mean that they have to know everything. So, and then we created, I'm going to talk about tools for students. So first, we created this conversation partner, CISPA. CISPA comes from Xi'an Jiaotong-Liverpool University, and SPA from Spanish. So together sounds like CISPA, CHISPA, like sounds like spark in Spanish. Okay, so this CISPA, we created that with a tool that we had last academic year, SIPO AI. It's to create chatbots mainly. So we create this agent, or in this case, chatbot. In this prompt, we use the techniques that we were talking about before, enhanced prompt strategies. And here in the knowledge, we can upload things with folders, and then we can just every week change these folders. In a way that we can, this knowledge base can adapt, as Mikel said before, to week 3, week 4, week 5, week 7. So that means that students, they are not going to see any change in the tool, but actually every week the tool is going to be more complex. It's going to use more grammar, it's going to use more vocabulary adapted to them. So this vocabulary, knowledge base, imagine you have some experience with this. We create this kind of folders, and in these folders, for example, this for one specific week, we have vocabulary lists, we have functions and examples. So this is how it works, like CISPA.
And okay, what can we do, or what CISPA can do as a conversation partner? Okay, can offer real-time conversation with the students, written conversation, engage in conversations with them to improve or to help to improve the communication skills of the students. Also, the students can practice on one simple topic. These 2 weeks we are learning about likes and dislikes, or we are learning about talking about places. So the students can focus on just one topic and practice what we are learning in class in that moment. Also serves as a grammar and vocabulary reinforcer. Students can work on the words and the grammar structures that we are learning in that moment, in a context, which is important, in a real context. And also, because it's a judgment-free environment, the students can practice more in a more relaxed way without any pressure, which is important for Chinese students. And how can CHISPA answer questions about the module? Give feedback and create practice learning activities. She cannot. For that, we have Amigo. Amigo can do that. I guess that you know what means amigo in Spanish, friend. So we play with that word. So we have Amigo. Amigo is your friend to go through the module. And from here, we saw that for a specific task, it's better create a tool, one tool for one specific task. Okay, what we can do with Amigo, what Amigo can do. It's a Spanish tutor, as you can see there. So you can ask questions about the module, about the grammar, vocabulary, sentence structures, or cultural nuances. Always adapted to the student's level. This is important. It's not like asking to ChatGPT. You're going to get a long answer. Here, Amigo will go to this, what we are learning in class in really a concrete way. Can give feedback to your writing. Okay, you can write a text and he gonna give you some feedback. Highlight your mistakes, suggesting improvements, explaining why changes are needed. can create activities. You can ask for activity to practice whatever you are learning in that moment, and even you can ask him what kind of exercises you want, vocabulary, drill, quizzes, etc. Inside is like Chispa. We have prompt, then we have vocabulary list, functional examples, and we add new file here. Here we have grammar and examples of that grammar file. Okay, and of course, as we saw with Chispa, we can update this following the student's pace through the semester. You have one example, the vocabulary list we have saw before, functions and examples, and here you have one example of the grammar in the way we are explaining in class and with some examples. So we get for tool for students, tool for teachers, we have created an ecosystem here that with the tool for students, we can integrate them in classroom, but also outside the classroom, creating an AI-enhanced learning environment. From tools for teachers, we have created traditional supplementary practice, creating that texts. And together with the AI-powered supplementary practice, we also create an independent learning support for the students. About the implementation, we first, last year, we created the pilot test in order to introduce or create a full implementation for all the module with 874 students across 9 lectures, December 4th, week 12, with the proposal to introduce the tools to the students and demonstrate them how they can integrate this into learning routines. They went to the exams. When we start the semester after that, we made a survey to the students with questions like, did you enjoy your conversation with Amigo? Close to 80% say very much or somewhat. Did you use Amigo to prepare the speaking coursework and or the final exam? Close to 70% they say yes. Do you think that Amigo helped you to achieve better results last semester? More than 80% said that strongly agree or agree. The same results we got from CISPA. Did you enjoy your conversation with CISPA? Close to 80%, very much, somewhat. Did you use CISPA to prepare for the speaking coursework and or the final exam? 64% say yes. And do you think that CISPA helped you to achieve better results last semester? Close to 80%. 80% again strongly agree or agree. About how we are escalating this innovation, because we start with SPA 001. Now this is working in SPA 001, SPA 002, and 003. And we are integrating progressively this into teaching practice to serve as an active learning tools in the classroom. It's not just one thing that we do one day, it's something that's gonna stay there and enhance the student ability to use these tools. Also, we did and we are doing an evaluation about to measure the impact that these tools are having in the students. Of course, we have some limitations. Okay, CISPA, when the conversation gets too long, it struggles with linguistic control, which is normal in these kind of tools. Sometimes the interactions may feel a script, reducing that authenticity. And we don't have voice for the conversation for the moment. We are working on that. And for both of them, they have limited flexibility when it's off topic or unexpected inputs. And of course, some technical issues that these kind of tools can have. Okay.
Okay, so talking, I mean, this is our work last academic year. In general, we've been working all this summer and still working on this project, and of course making a lot of new things. So we have been working on these satellite chatbots. What does it mean, satellite chatbots? I mean, this ecosystem, these chatbots, they are light AI tools for short-term use. For example, for a specific class, we want to do a specific activity, we create one of these satellite chatbots. So they're designed for something specific. Advantages, and this is how they work in this ecosystem. They can use, for example, knowledge bases from Amigo and CISPA, or at some point, we create custom generated knowledge bases with using text generator, TextPa. So in that way, we create more knowledge bases that go back to the system. They contribute back to the ecosystem. We have some examples that we were trialing. For example, this activity, famosos, I mean, celebrities, the students, they told the chatbot, hey, you are this famous person, and then asking questions about this person. In this case, we used knowledge bases done from Amigo and from that level. And in this activity, for example, Quién Soy is something very similar. It's also about a celebrity, but in this case, the students, they need to ask questions, and at some point they need to guess who is the person. To do that, we created different knowledge bases. For example, Shakira, Messi, Fernando Alonso, I mean, biographies of these people with, we could generate that with TextPa adapted to that level. We use that as knowledge base tool. The tool looks like it's working very well. And of course, these knowledge bases, they can be used then in the biggest tools back. Then, I mean, we were talking that when we were talking about the research, like AI model and attachments, they are important. The problem is last year, we didn't have control on the AI model. We didn't have control on the attachments when we created the tools. But this year is a whole different story. This year, we have the SIPO AI agent. We have been able to create testing, I mean, to test new tools. Here we have like much more control about the chatbots. Of course, we can control temperature, which is super important for this kind of tools, and of course, other things. In any case, we can control the AI models, which is very important. I mean, we can choose between several ones that is giving us like a lot of more possibilities. And of course, the knowledge base, we can use a lot of different kinds of files of knowledge base. For example, Markdown here, that Markdown and JSON looks like they can work in a similar way because both are lightweight, both are structured. Okay. So we have been creating that. We are experimenting with CISPA to, of course, include, we need to give her a voice, still working on that. It's kind of complicated because, I mean, this API needs to understand like beginners of Spanish, you know, and give feedback. So we are working on that. And as Mikel was talking before about these possible solutions, we were talking about chatbots, and now we just moved to the next level, which is like this level here, like agents. What is the difference between a chatbot and an agent? In an agent, you can create actions, I mean, specific actions. If you do that in GPT, I mean, when you build GPTs, then maybe you are more used to this. I mean, instructions is the generic prompt. Knowledge, this is the knowledge base. And here in the new action, you could add actions such as the validator, for example, we were talking before. So this included in the same tool. And actually, this is what we have been working on. So imagine a workflow where you introduce a user prompt. This goes to a main LLM module, and this is going to send the specific prompt to the LLM node. And this is TextPa. TextPa is going to produce these high controlled AI generated texts based on the research we did before. But now we can add a code node, and this code node in this workflow would run Python to identify the non-compliant words. The validator tool we were talking before. This is going to go to an output node that is going to receive the text from the node and is going to receive the words and the contexts in this text. This is going to send that in JSON format back to the main LLM. And this LLM is going to format this JSON into an structured answer. It's going to translate words into English, for example. So in that way, we're going to have the text, we're going to have the non-compliant words, we're going to have a translation of these words in context, which means that if our system is missing 5% of the words inside the lists, we can put this and work this workflow, and this workflow is going to identify that and give you an output with these translations, which means that we can share the tool with the students. It's not only for the teachers. Here you can see the example of this workflow. Sorry, the PPT looks a bit slow. Okay, here you see LLM, you see the code node, the output, and here you can see one of the outputs. Here you see the text about Barcelona, for example, few non-compliant words, tranquilos, simpáticas, with the translation in context, okay? So we have been testing this, and this is now working, at least in our tests. We can do some things like more complex. For example, in this prototype, the system is sending the non-compliant words to another LLM, and this LLM is substituting and changing these sentences in order to fix the output and make a more compliant text in this case. So actually, we can do a lot of things. We've been testing a lot of things. Imagine a tool that can create activities like Amigo, but this tool, they have like specific activities where each activity goes to an independent workflow with, of course, some of them running code, some of them LMAs, creating different kinds of specialized and perfect activities for that level. This is what we have been doing, actually. This is one of our prototypes. This prototype is almost ready. We're going to present this this semester to our students. These are now Tarea es IA, inteligencia artificial in Spanish, tarea like tarea, which is task in Spanish. So a lot of things going on. We are doing a lot of prototypes. Of course, we need to talk about multimodality, which is very important here. We can upload a picture in our tools with these prompts and these files and tell him, look, describe this person. We can get this description of this picture, talking about name, place of origin, profession, likes and dislikes, and clothes. And the system actually is following pretty well the constraints. So we need to experiment, of course, in that direction too. So if you need to build an agent for L2 beginners, do you need that? I mean, as we said, there are a few things going on which are important. You need to carefully choose the AI model. Of course, you need to use clear strategies to enhance your prompts. You need to structure well the knowledge base, normally in a natural, I mean, in a similar way that the agent needs to think. That's going to help. And then you need actions. I mean, we explained a few. I mean, maybe we can do, I mean, of course, many more things. So that's everything for our side from our presentation. Thank you. Gracias. CSE. If you, I mean, if you have like any question now or later, you can contact us, like Mikel or myself. These are our emails. We would be happy to, I mean, answer any question or maybe establish some collaborations in the future.
Mikel, Raúl, thank you very much. That was great. I'm just invite everybody to post any questions you have in the chat, or feel free to share your audio and your video. The first thing that jumps out at me, Raúl and Mikel, is this sounds like a massive piece of work and a massively impressive piece of work. Sunday, do you have a question? Do you want to start us off?
No, go for it, David, after you. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just the things that jumped out at me as well were, in terms of your colleagues and fellow staff, what type of support and staff development was required for this? And were they easy to get on board to use these tools?
Mm-hmm. So this project started like, I don't even know, time flies, 1 year and a half, maybe 2 years, Mikel.
Yeah.
So Mikel and myself, we started together, like we said, we're teaching absolute beginners, we have to do something. And we started to do that. The project is the university, like the project, our division, more people got interested. Now we have like a group of teachers collaborating. So of course, these last tools, without their help, would have been impossible. So we want to thank, of course, all our team. So we have, this summer we had people just working on activities to implement the tools in the classroom. We had people helping with knowledge bases, because as you said, it is a lot of work. Again, we tried this last year in Spanish 01, Spanish 002, beginning of Spanish 003. Now we are more than 10 teachers working on this. We are doing like, last semester we were doing like weekly communities of practice where we shared what we were doing. We were sharing our ideas, and that helps. The good thing about this project is now we have people from the team presenting in different conferences independently. The idea is the project is so big that everyone can find a piece of this and present their piece of work here or there. So the idea is it's a project for everyone. In the division, we want to get a lot of teachers involved, just to make a project for all of us and for our students, for sure. This is the most important thing.
Great. And in terms of your students, obviously you have over 874 students, was it? How much support was required for them to kind of learn these new tools? And what was the process for that? What format did the support come in?
Mikel, do you want to answer that? Then maybe you're more
no,
involved.
I didn't listen properly, so maybe ask if you can answer.
I was just thinking from the students' point of view, obviously these would have been new tools to them. What kind of support, or kind of did you give them any training on how to use the tools effectively? And what kind of format did that come in? Was it supported documents, for example, or videos online, or just live session tutorials?
Okay. The use of the tools don't require any specific training, more than just play a little bit with it for some minutes during the class. So also the teachers were training on how to use it. So we introduced them in class. Also, we had some lectures also to explain the tools in the implementation, as I said before. We have 1 hour practicing with them. Then we introduced in the classes, and was just playing with it, and using also the satellites was easy. We didn't need any special training for the students. So
yeah,
it was quite easy.
They look quite intuitive, the front ends.
Yeah. And I would like to add something to that we didn't say in the presentation, but maybe it's interesting. Our tools don't require a huge use of prompting or anything. Students, they go there. For example, the last tool we showed you, the students go there and they can choose the type of activity, and then they can choose between different options. Our vision about AI for students, to support students, is creating something very intuitive. So if the prompt is important for them for their learning, that's important to work on that. But if not, maybe we can create something intuitive that actually works strong for them. So this is the idea now.
And if students had their own kind of personal favorite app or tool that they prefer to use, is that okay, or do they have to use the tool that you're recommending? Like Duolingo, if they use this or similar apps?
We give them a lot of options at the beginning of the semester. They can choose a lot of things. And these tools, in this year, we're introducing the third one, which is Tarea. So we are presenting next week Tarea, 2 weeks after Amigo 2 weeks after CISPA, which means that they use it in class with some specific activities. They get used to one tool before they use the other one. The idea is we use that in class, so in order to create specific activities, and then they gain the independence, the autonomy, then to use that in different ways at home. I mean, this is a bit the idea. And then, of course, we give them a lot of resources that they can use, not only this. But for now, for us now, these tools are like the textbook. We have the textbook, we use it. I mean, they're like a support. We use it for some activities. Then we have these tools that, I mean, they are kind of not mandatory, but they are tools for our, I mean, important tools as the textbook for our students.
Yeah, great.
We still don't have feedback about the Tarea, of course, because it's a new tool. But I mean, our experience with the students, I believe that they're gonna love. I mean, because I know how they think. I mean, maybe in a few months we can give you more. I mean, explain a bit more of how this is working. But I have the feeling that this tool is gonna be important for them. I mean, the tool is kind of powerful. I mean, we have a prototype for the next week, just working full. We have been doing some testing. I think that is ready to be tried. I mean, to be tested by students. Yeah.
Great. Does anybody have any questions for Raúl and Mikel?
Yeah, I was just going to thank you so much. Yeah, really impressive. And just wanted to ask you about the multimodal capabilities. So you mentioned that's what coming next, the speech, and then you also showed the visuals. So if you just wanted to say a few words on that.
I mean, the thing
what
is...
the plans, what your plans are,
Yeah.
sort of, yeah.
The thing is, I mean, last year, that was not an option with the tools we had at the university at that level. This year, it starts to be an option. We can upload files in our own agents. We can, in our agents, can have images that at some point can be deployed in the conversations. So for now, we plan to create an activity this year, only one about the weather, where students receive some images. They have to describe the weather. I mean, this is the plan. I mean, we work a lot of classes. We don't have time to do more this semester, but we wanted at least to try with one activity. It depends how it works. Then from there, we will work with that, because I mean, I think that multimodality is the path to go. I mean, it's pretty clear for us. The problem then with Spanish is, of course, tools we have, they are more directed to English, which is, I mean, it's normal. This is a Sino-British university that most of our students, they speak English, all of them. We need to find a tool, and we need to find the right support to include in our tools. And the thing what I was saying before, it's not just something that understands Spanish. It's something that is trained to understand beginners. This is the point, not only for understanding them, because I mean, any tool is going to understand them, I mean, just because the tools work. But the thing is, a tool that can give some feedback on pronunciation, that can take that into account. And for now, it looks like, I mean, we've been trying with some prototypes, but it looks like this year is not going to be possible. I mean, we're going to need at least one more year until we get, I mean, maybe we progress a bit with AI and with the tools we have. I mean, the university is giving us like super powerful tools, but this is something super specific that maybe we need to wait a bit. I don't know if this answers the question. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, that sounds amazing. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, are there any other questions? No? Okay, I think we'll end it there. Thank you so much, Raúl and Mikel. That was brilliant. If it's okay with you, are you okay just to stay behind for a minute? Just something I need to discuss with you, if that's okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to stop the recording, and